Does anyone else remember when every other video in the content creator space was about DaVinci Resolve? Well, I do, and back then I wasn't really too phased because I was well into my editing journey with Adobe, but I've been using DaVinci for the last 5 months, and if you're a new creator thinking about giving it a go, here's my experience.
And I definitely did that take about 3 times, and I ripped my jeans in the process.
So, that's cool, considering I was supposed to be wearing those to a creator event tonight. So anyway, oh, it's ripping. Hold on. All right, we're back. I have sweatpants on now. Let's get into it. So I would consider myself just an everyday basic creator, but I've used a lot of editing software compared to like the average new creator in 2024. Back in the day, I used iMovie, like I'm talking like decades ago. I've tried Filmora, I've used CapCut desktop and mobile. I've done Adobe Premiere Pro, and I've just recently in the last five to 6 months, I've switched over to DaVinci. Now, I will disclaimer and say that I eventually got the hang of every single editing software that I've ever used, but I do believe that they all have pros and cons. As a creator, when I was first starting out and when I was trying out new software, it was really helpful for me to watch videos like this, just hearing other people's experiences. More importantly, not from someone who is like an expert filmmaker that uses all this technical editing software. I just wanted to know the experience from someone who just is a basic content creator who is just trying to do the basics and isn't looking for anything super technical, but wants to, you know, hear the experience from others. That's pretty much what this video is going to be. So if you're looking for like all the specs and technical kind of stuff, that's not what this is about, and this is not the video for you. But continue watching if you want. At the end of the day, when it comes to an editing software, it really does depend on what you're looking for and what you're needing that software to do for you. What I love about DaVinci is obviously the cost. It's free. They have a free version. I know they have a paid version, but I just say it's free because it's the only version of it that I've ever used. And for me, I make travel vlogs, lifestyle vlogs, and sit down videos like this. And for me, it served me really well in those areas. It is extensive, and like I said, I switched over from Adobe, and I was paying around $30-ish a month for Adobe Premiere Pro. And I feel like DaVinci has just as many features, if not more, than I had with Adobe as a paid software program.
Is it a software program? I think that's what it's called. I think it's a software program.
Like I said, we're not here to get technical, okay? So if I say the wrong word, you get what I'm trying to say. Everyone talks about the depth of the color grading on DaVinci, and I didn't really, I was like, oh, that's really cool, because there have definitely been programs like Filmora was very limited in the quality of their color grading. I needed it to be like a little bit more in depth, so I was excited about that. As far as DaVinci with its features, there is so much available to you as like a new creator that's looking to make simple videos, simple vlogs. There is so much available for you for free. I've yet to feel restricted while using this editing program, especially when it comes to the kind of vlogs and videos that I'm currently creating. If you've ever used an editing program and then you switch to another one, the biggest thing is the learning curve, because they all have their differences, even if some of them are familiar. And like I said, I switched over from using, I think I was using Adobe for editing for about over a year before I switched. What I did like was that it was a similar feel to DaVinci. It didn't like send me into a spiral like, how the heck am I going to learn any of this, because it had that familiarity.
I hate saying that word because I never can say it right.
But I just like that it was similar in that aspect. It is still different, but it is similar in that aspect compared to like something like CapCut. Going from CapCut to something like DaVinci, the look of them is very different. I feel like those familiar feelings made the switch easier. CapCut is so user-friendly. It is so like plug and play for a lot of it. In DaVinci, it almost feels like the exact opposite. So it probably would have been way more overwhelming. I liked that it was simple to set up. You just go to the website, download, follow the downloading instructions, and now it just lives on my desktop. easy peasy, wasn't a problem. Another thing I love is that it's an established editor, so you can find lots of free tutorials on YouTube to really like learn the ropes of it. I find that I go back time and time when I'm in the middle of an editing project. It's really helpful using a program that's like known and established. You don't have to be the one figuring it out because someone else on the internet has figured it out and has made a video on it. So it's very handy in that way. Most importantly, what I love about the Switch, and we will get into the cons, okay? But what I loved is there hasn't been any glitches or crashes. Right before I made the Switch, like the last like maybe 3-4 months of using Adobe, it was just crashing every single time I was editing. Every single time without fail, multiple times. In an editing session, I would have the program crash on me and I would have to hope that my file was saved, and it was, and I had to go find it. It was a whole process. It was a whole process. I haven't had any crashes since I switched, and like I said, it's been about 5 months of no crashes, which has made my editing sessions way more enjoyable, and I can just focus on the work instead of like focusing on, oh my god, is this gonna crash in the middle of me doing this. There were plenty of times where I had to go back in Adobe and re-edit the same section because it was like it crashed right before the autosave was about to autosave. And I wasn't about to put it on autosave every 1 minute. Having a program that often crashes, it's just like it puts a damper on your creativity. So I'm really loving that I have not had that issue so far. Maybe I'll do an update, but so far I have not had any issues with crashes or anything like that within the DaVinci program. Now let's get into the cons. Because there are cons, and like I said, I do believe that there are pros and cons to every single editing software program out there, and it really does depend on what you are looking for and what you are needing that program to do. There are so many features on DaVinci, like it's extensive, but for me and what I'm looking for, it's almost too extensive. It's almost like, okay, we need to kick it down a couple notches. Like, I don't need all that. I don't need all that. I wish there was like levels to it. Like I just need it in beginner mode because it definitely has the feel of like you need to know what you're doing to use this app, and I've just learned enough for me to do what I need to do. It can feel very intimidating just because how much is available to you, and I don't think that that's a bad thing. I just feel like it can be very intimidating to a newbie, to a new creator, and they've just started doing construction, so forgive me. But like I was saying, I'm just looking for the basics, you know, like I'm not like trying to do all this technical stuff, especially with the color grading. I just wanted to like tweak the saturation, tweak the brightness, you know, play with the contrast a little bit, just like your basic color grading techniques. I just wanted to do that. It took me a while to find my groove with color grading on DaVinci, and I leaned heavily on the YouTube videos, so I cannot recommend that enough if you are someone that's new and just looking for the basics and wanting to wrap your head around it. If you are switching an editing program or taking on a new one for the first time as a newbie to all of this content creation, editing, and all of that, you need to give yourself grace and you need to give yourself the time and space to learn the software. So don't like put timelines on your videos like this needs to be uploaded and edited by tomorrow when you're just trying to learn the software. Like you need to give yourself 2 weeks to edit the video so that you can look at the tutorials and edit the videos, and you might not need 2 weeks. I'm just being generous here because we are all different, and you know, we learn at different paces and all have different life circumstances going on. So like really be generous with the amount of time you're giving yourself to edit the videos because the learning curve is real. The struggle is real. Often these editing softwares, they will update, so they'll have like a newer version. So some of the tutorials are from 2019 and the feature button is in a different spot. So you need to give yourself time to find out where the new button is in 2024 and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So that's why I always say, like, if you're going to be learning a new editing software, I do think that even if you're new, even if you're not a professional filmmaker, all this kind of stuff, you can learn the basics to get what you need to get done with your videos. But I just think that you need to give yourself the time and know that it's not going to come easy or natural. I mean, it might, but for most of us out there, it's not going to. That's okay. That's not a problem. You just need to give yourself the time so that you can figure it out in your own pace, time, and learn it in the way that, you know, feels good for you. Another thing with the color grading, it took me so long to learn how to color grade the whole like, I wanted to color grade the whole video at once. You know what I mean? Like, I edited it. So how I edit my videos, I'm going on a tangent here, but I think this is important. How I edit my videos is in like 3 phases. So I do the first phase, which is like my rough chop. Second phase is like really going in, tweaking overlays, you know, the little zoom ins, all those little effects. And then the third phase is when I usually do color grading and adding the music. So I like to, that's like one of the last stages. I'll go in and tweak everything, like, but I like to just color grade the whole thing and keep it simple. I don't fuss too much about the color grading of my videos. I don't try and do anything too cinematic or anything like that. And who knows, maybe down the line I want to learn that, but right now I need quick, efficient, like, I just want to color grade the whole thing and be done. And I could not figure out how to do this in DaVinci, and it was so frustrating. I had to watch multiple videos. I figured out 2 different ways to do it, and then I figured out which way felt easier for me to do within my 3-phase process. So it took me a while to figure that out, and it was really frustrating, and like, I found it very easy to do in Adobe, and so that was like my biggest gripe with DaVinci. Since finding that way to do it has made my life a lot easier, but like I said, it's the learning curve of it. Give yourself grace, okay? Just give yourself grace. You're learning here, okay? And I say that to you, but I'm also saying that to me. The problem for me with like trying out so many different editing programs was that like you learn the shortcuts for the programs and then you switch the program and some of the shortcuts change, but then like it's already built in, it's already a built-in habit that I do like Control Alt whatever, and this program that shortcut does a whole different feature, so you have to like unlearn some things and then relearn some new things. So like that's another thing, if you're going from program to program, you need to give yourself grace to unlearn things as well. And I still find myself doing shortcuts that are for Adobe on DaVinci, and it just doesn't apply. And then like I still sometimes use CapCut because me and my boyfriend share computers, because his computer has higher processing power for editing and mine doesn't, so it's a whole thing. So sometimes I'm using CapCut, and then it's just, you gotta give yourself the time and space to learn the different shortcuts for the different programs. But I think I just went into it knowing that I was going to have to deal with that. I went into it with the mindset that I am going to have to unlearn things and relearn things, and I was up for the task, you know what I mean? So you just have to go into that with the right mindset and be willing to be the beginner again, even though it's like, yeah, I know how to edit, I've used editing softwares in the past, but it's like you're starting from scratch with a new editing software. And usually I find that I can pick up things a little quicker because I do have some editing experience under my belt. It's a learning curve. It's all a learning curve. So just be prepared for a big learning curve if you're new to all this, and be willing to be the beginner and lean heavily on the tutorials that are available for free on YouTube. One of the biggest things that I cannot stand about DaVinci is that each thing has its own section. Each feature has its own tab at the bottom. And I didn't know they were at the bottom because there's so much going on in editing software programs, whatever you want to call them. My eyes didn't directly navigate to it. So I was trying to edit in the tab that was for something else, and so there's like an editing tab, and then there's a color grading tab, and then there is a exporting tab, and the exporting tab is the rocket ship, and it's just like, how am I supposed to know that the rocket ship means that that's for exporting? I didn't know. And so I eventually figured it out, and like sometimes I still go to color grade in the editing tab, and it's just annoying. It's just annoying, and I feel like if this was the first and only editing software that I've ever used, it would be no problem. But because, like I said, I got used to using different software programs, whatever they are, it's just one of those things that just is annoying to me, because I feel like it's adding an extra step. Like, I'm already in my timeline editing my clip. Why do I have to go and click on another tab so that I can get back to the timeline, but now it's the color grading timeline? You know what I mean? It's just annoying to me, and like I said, I'm just looking for the basic, like, bare bones, so I don't need all the technical stuff. I'm sure if I was this cinematic filmmaker, I would love that they had all these tabs and I could have so much control over every little thing that's going on. And like, I'm just filming like point and shoot with my camera, you know. I'm not filming in this D-log and I'm not doing it, okay? I'm just trying to make a video for YouTube, okay? I'm not trying to make a cinematic masterpiece. But like I said, it's just features that you just have to get used to. And if you're looking to save a buck, like, you're gonna put up with the shit and you're gonna just get used to it, because I'm saving $30 a month, so I'm gonna use the tabs, okay? With DaVinci as well, I feel like they use a lot more like editing program software jargon. In editing programs like CapCut, the terminology is very user friendly. The lighting just changed. That's great. One second. This is what happens when you're messing with natural light and the sun is gonna go down in about an hour. Oh, the editing jargon, the words that they use. So I feel like in programs like CapCut, they use like very like beginner terminology. Like, I don't even know. I don't have any examples off the top of my head. I just feel like DaVinci has like professional terminology. So I don't know. I feel like you really have to like use your brain a little bit more when you're using DaVinci. And again, I don't think that it's anything that like a beginner could not figure out. I just feel like it's not as like, let's go straight out of the box. You kind of have to like figure a couple of things out before you can get into the groove of it. And I do not think that that is a bad thing because of the features and the depth of DaVinci. I feel like it is great that something like this is available for free. I just feel like you need to go in it mentally prepared. If you are a beginner with zero editing experience, I do think it's possible to learn the ropes and to wrap your head around it. But it might be very overwhelming for a beginner, especially if you're trying to just get the hang of social media as a whole and starting a YouTube channel and all of those things. It might be a little bit too much, but I wouldn't say don't do it. I wouldn't say don't do it, because if you can wrap your head around it and take the time to learn it, instead of like starting on CapCut as a beginner and then being like, oh, well, maybe when my channel is here, I'll learn that. Like, if you just learn it off the bat, I feel like you'll be better off. You want to go back and relearn a whole new software down the line. And you might want to upgrade your editing capabilities down the line. Or maybe you want to get an editor. It's really up to you, and every journey is individual. So something like CapCut is very great for beginners. And DaVinci is like a step or two up above that. Maybe more, some would say, but how I use it, it's a step or two above that. So my overall thoughts are, I like DaVinci, and it's saving me money, and I'm so grateful for that, but it is almost a little bit too complex for me. Not to the point where I'm going to stop using it or switch to something else. Like, I'm in it now, okay? I'm in it for the long haul now, okay? Until they start making it a paid feature, I might go back to Adobe. I don't know. I honestly don't know if I would go back to Adobe because of the crashing, and that was just a headache. If I could choose, I would want something in between CapCut and DaVinci. I don't know if anything like that exists out there. I want the simplicity, but I want more in-depth capabilities. I want the precision, but I want the simplicity. And I don't know if that's me asking for too much as a creator. For right now, I'm just grateful that there is something out there that is more in-depth, that is free for creators. So I'm here for it. I think it's a great affordable option. It's just a huge learning curve. Just go into it with that mindset that, okay, I am learning something new. This is a skill I need to learn, and it's okay if I don't get it right after the first video, after the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, 10th, 20th video. If I'm still learning this and I still have to lean on the tutorials, it's okay. It's part of the process. This is not the easiest editing program to learn out there, but I'm going to thank myself later. I feel like if you go into it with that mindset, you will be fine. Eventually, you will be fine. Just be willing to put in the work, lean heavily on the tutorials that are available for free, and use them during your edits. Don't just look at them before you download DaVinci and then never look at them again. I still do that after using this program for 5 months. And I still did that with Adobe after using it for a year. So for the time being, I will continue using DaVinci until I get sick of it. And I can see myself using it for a long time unless it starts crashing like Adobe did or something major, but for what I need, it's getting the job done. So it's a thumbs up from me for now. And hopefully this video can just help someone that's like jumping into all this. I just find it helpful to not always hear from the expert or the professionals in the industry, you know, as someone. The lighting has changed again. I don't need anything fancy. I just need to do this and that, ABC. I don't need the whole alphabet. You know what I mean? So let me know, have you tried DaVinci? Have you switched from another app? Do you use CapCut? Have you used Filmora? What's your favorite? What features do you like? Let me know all the tea in the comments below, and let me know if you found this video helpful. I would love to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching. Consider subscribing, and I hope to see you tuning into another video soon. Bye!